all the exciting news from Google I/O. So that makes my job much easier. So what I'll be doing is giving you an update on various announcements that have come up on the Google Cloud platform. And it's not just about the I/O part, but also in terms of what has been released since the beginning of the year to I/O. And then I'll give you some thoughts on what I feel you could look at in terms of if you have to learn some particular areas in the GCP platform. So let's get started with what we have here today. Okay, so in short, what we'll be doing is, I'll take you through a lot of announcements in terms of offerings that have come up on the Google Cloud platform right from, the beginning of the year. And then we'll talk about some of the very specific announcements that were there at I/O 2015 also. Okay, so as far as Google Cloud Platform is concerned, for I/O, there wasn't a very big announcements vis-a-vis that. So one aspect was that I just feel that maybe next time onwards they should just call that event Android I/O instead of Google I/O. But anyway, jokes apart. The thing is that the GCP team releasing a lot of updates and features, right across the year, and which is what we'll be going through in the next few slides. So what I'll be doing is telling you all that it's not just that as if nothing has been announced. It's been announced regularly over the course of the year so far, and just to be, also you should be aware is that there are also Google Cloud Platform specific events that are happening. Even as we speak, yesterday there was an event called GCP Next, which was held in New York. And, it's these events where, the GCP management would then go ahead and give updates on what's happening on the Google Cloud Platform. So it looks like that GCP has its own set of events. And while I/O could be used to, announce a few things here and there, I think this event, a separate set of events, is what really gives more information on what's been happening, some new customers, some new features, and where there's been a lot of adoption. So that's what, but I'll come to the I/O 2015, some specific things also. But let's first get going with the GCP and some of the announcements over the year, right? So before we get into that, the landscape currently for Google Cloud Platform looks something like this. You would probably see much better visualizations, with all the icons and logos and all that. But I've particularly put a few services which have also got released. We'll actually be going through some of them, and which are in beta, right? So just for everyone's information, I mean, if you look at the GCP offerings, it's categorized into these 4 areas. And on the hosting compute side, you've got, I mean, initially there was App Engine, but now there's Compute Engine also. Storage, you may be aware that there is the Google Cloud Storage, which is the file-based thing, object stores. Then you've got the data store, there's SQL, and there's also recently a release on Cloud Bigtable. We'll come to that. On the big data side, they have offerings, BigQuery. I mean, some of you may have heard about them. If not, you should try it out. That's what I strongly recommend. But there's also of late, at least across this year, PubSub, which is actually a message-oriented release. If data pipelines, there's Google Cloud Data Flow also. It's an excellent product. You should look at, especially if you've got large data to process, ETL workflows and stuff like that. All the infrastructure and everything is managed for you behind the scenes. And of course, on the services side, you've got cloud endpoints via which you could write APIs. And then also there's multitude of other APIs that Google provides, which you could use in your application. So this just gives you, some sort of a overview of different offerings. Some of you, or most of you, might be even aware of some of them, but I just wanted to get this, upfront, so that you know where things are in terms of their offerings. All right. So now what we'll be doing is going through some of the things that have got announced. I would say I've actually taken a period from January onwards till date as to what are the different announcements, and I've tried to collate all of that together so that you know that it's not like nothing is happening. In fact, a lot of things have been happening on the GCP side of things. All right. So first, let's talk about Google Compute, right? The whole infrastructure as a service offerings. So of course, it's been there, but in this year, there have been some very significant updates. I mean, they've added multiple new OS images. Almost 15 to 30% in terms of bringing down your bill if you do things right. There's preemptible instances. Containers, might have heard these. This is really a huge focus area, not just at Google, but you'll find it across even other vendors. So Google Container Engine is one of the services available in the spectrum. You could host your Docker images and basically containerize applications. That's where everything is going. So this is their service. They also have a registry now. So in cloud, you have a private registry for edge locations, improving the networking. There's load balancing now. Uh, okay. Let me DNS. Are you able to hear me better? Just let me know if you're able to hear me, please. Okay, shall I move ahead? Is there a problem with the reception?
No, sir. Voice is breaking in between.
Okay. I mean, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. All right. So I'm at the Google Cloud Launcher right now. So, this is one feature by which you could actually launch various software packages on GCE with just a few clicks. So, in case you're looking for ready-made, or products that you regularly use, for example, Jenkins for the build, or Redis as a data server. So, any of these solutions, if you want, there's a one-click launcher available. So behind the scenes, it will provision the instances and everything for you. So almost more than 150 packages are now supported. So if you want to jumpstart something very quickly and you're okay with most of the default settings, you could look at the Google Cloud Launcher for that. To storage services, right? I mean, obviously there's Google Cloud Storage Service, there's the data store, there's also Cloud SQL. But recently they've also announced a Cloud Big Table, which is a NoSQL database, and it's particularly good for IoT operations in or sorry applications in case you're looking at that. The other interesting release that they've had vis-a-vis Google Cloud Storage is the nearline service, and this is something where you can get storage. This is not really a offline or a cold storage sort of concept that Amazon Glacier and other services have. This latency is a little bit more compared to your online, always, and they're in near real time. So it gives you at a much lesser cost and almost, at speeds that, are fairly good compared to, the online thing. So if you're looking at, storing large amounts of data with sort of infrequent access, but you don't mind a little bit of lag, then you could significantly save costs with the nearline storage approach. Now services, BigQuery service has been there, but they've been doing several things around that. The quota has been for operations, as you can see. The other thing is that they've sort of enabled streamlining your logs and data from your compute engine, app engine operations and resources. So you can actually stream these things into BigQuery and then analyze stuff from there. So it's pretty good if you've got a lot of logs which have to be analyzed, or even in real time if you want some analysis to be done on that data. And for those of you who've not tried out BigQuery, I would strongly suggest that you should really do that, because you'll be able to see the power of processing large amounts of data and firing queries which run well under 10 seconds most of the time. So do give it a try if you can. Now, this is an interesting product, Cloud Data Flow. It's currently in beta, but what Cloud Data Flow addresses really are large data processing pipelines. So especially things like ETL and all. If you've got, this could be a good service to go through, because what it does is it does the infrastructure management, configuration, and other things. It uses all the compute resources, configures it for you, and you simply focus on your workflow to process the data which could be there. So if you're looking for a higher level abstraction where you just focus on your data processing pipelines, I think this is a great product to give a look at. Cloud PubSub. I mean, most of you might be familiar with publish and subscribe model, asynchronous messaging or message-oriented middleware. So Cloud PubSub, it's now available on beta. And as you can see from the diagram, it gives you a nice asynchronous messaging mechanism for all your apps running either on the app engine or compute engine side of things. And at the same time, you could even be pushing it and integrating it with other applications so that it all comes together. So if you're looking for large data sort of processing in an asynchronous way, previously if you were an app engine, you were trying out things with task queues and stuff like that, but you could even give asynchronous messaging, the Cloud PubSub model, a try. It should be pretty useful even from Internet of Things applications. I think it's a great model for that also. Now we'll come to a set of, I would say, enhancements which have been made to help monitor your applications on App Engine, Compute Engine, and more. So previously, right, you had this only your logs that you could actually use to find out, and then you have to work with your logs and data in that to see how well your services are doing, any errors, any metrics if you wanted to track, or even alerts and things like that. So a lot of stuff has got done now on the monitoring, tracing, and debugging side of things. So one of them is cloud monitoring product. And the cloud monitoring product is, an integration of Stack Driver, the product that Google acquired a while back. So all your App Engine apps, Compute Engine, you can actually have various metrics that you can track for all your instances, and even set up dashboards and alerts, and they can actually notify you if certain metrics are beyond your thresholds that you want to monitor. So cloud monitoring is one. Then this is a very interesting product called Cloud Trace. So let's say that you've got an application on App Engine and you want to track, which calls are taking the most time, where the bottlenecks are in terms of, the whole request response processing. So you could look at this product called Cloud Trace and decide which endpoints you want to monitor. And you'll see from this diagram that it's able to tell you that starting from the time the request came in, you made these calls to various services, and then how much of time each one has taken. So you can actually see which bottlenecks. For example, here, if you believe that data store is taking more time, you could look at caching it. But you get the picture here that it gives you a nice visualization of the request response times, and then you could probably zoom into your code and figure out that where you could further improve that. So it's a pretty nice tool, especially if you got App Engine applications. I'd suggest give this a try. You got another one called Cloud Status Dashboard. I mean, one of the key things that all vendors now focus on is any kind of service disruptions that are happening, or any particular region there are some issues, are the instances down due to some network thing. So in order to encourage being open about it, the Cloud Status Dashboard gives you a summary of any incidents or disruptions that are happening across the Google network. So you could actually subscribe to these. There's also a page where you can see all the issues that are happening. And the nice part is you can drill down into some issue. I mean, each of these issues, you could see when it started, what has been the response, the root cause. So this is, trying to be as open as possible to tell you what's going wrong whenever you see a service disruption. And for those of you who'd like to monitor things while you're on the go, there's also a Android application available now. You could use this Android application for monitoring your different metrics, your applications. You can start and stop instances, and do. So while it may not have all the capabilities, I think it's fairly good if you're on the go and you just want to make sure that you're aware of the current status of your apps and things like that. You can also actually do operations like start stop instances, as I mentioned, and it's available on the Play Store. You could just install it in case you've got some things to monitor on either Compute Engine side or App Engine side of stuff. Pricing. Of course, in order to keep up with Moore's law and all the talk around it, I think one of the key announcements in May brought down the prices significantly for especially the Compute Engine instances, depending upon what kind of VM configuration you want. So it ranged from 15 to 30%, which is quite significant. The other thing, as I mentioned a bit earlier, is preemptible instances. So if you're okay with using instances which could be shut down, and if you've got your workflow sort of configured that way where it won't really affect, and you can then take over from there, especially if you're processing large amounts of data in a batch and you're okay with some sort of delays here and there. I think preemptible instances could significantly bring down your cost also. And it's as simple as using the G-Cloud command line utilities to ask for a preemptible instance. There's also been additional literature published for total cost of ownership, vis-a-vis AWS. So you could look at that. I have all the links over here. There's a pricing calculator that could help you, see what could be the approximate cost. Of course, when the bill comes in, you know better what really happened. But at least there's an initial calculator that could give you some sense as to where things are going. So pricing points, I think the I would say reductions that were announced in May have brought down the cost of compute engine instances to quite an extent. While there are some more things, I mean, I just wanted to summarize a few other ones which may be interesting for some of you. One of them is the deployment manager. So, you can see that there's a way to deploy apps on App Engine, and then they've got so many things. You've got compute engine stuff, you've got container engine. So, the thing is, in order to kind of bring some structure to the way you deploy your resources on the Google compute you know uh, infrastructure, there are you can now define static dynamic templates, so you can define all your resources and then the deployment manager can deploy it for you. So this is again in beta, but I think moving forward it would be like a deployment template that you could use repeatedly. So let's say if you set up a web app with some database backend with some I would say a few instances behind a load balancer and stuff like that. Instead of doing these steps, you could actually create a template and this could deploy it for you. For those of you who are into writing Node.js apps, there's also an interesting client library that was announced a while back. And but then if you look at the four services, you could interact with BigQuery, Cloud Data Store, storage, and PubSub, all via Node.js APIs. So you could have your Node.js apps talking to some of these Google Cloud infrastructure things in the now. So that pretty much covers what I have in terms of things that have been announced on the GCP side of things since January. Now coming to iOS 15 specific announcements, I think to the best extent that I could find, though I was not there, I could see a few things which I've noted down over here around cloud messaging, Firebase, and Code Lab. So we'll get to that. So on cloud messaging, I mean, some Google Cloud messaging, to create push notifications onto Android devices and things like that. But now the services also got extended to pushing the stuff on iOS. So basically, it's one uniform across multiple mobile OS push notifications. Then you've got Firebase. Maybe some of this was touched upon in the previous, of course, Firebase real-time data service. If you're using mobile apps and you want a backend, it could be a great one, great choice, especially in the Google infrastructure. At IO 15, they announced offline support for Firebase. And my gut feel says that as we move forward, there should be more and more closer integration where once your data is in Firebase, probably it could integrate with some other GCP infrastructure services to do the next set of processing. But nothing stops you from doing that now. But I think it could just do some things in a more automated or trigger in some way or the other, right? Now, if you want to get familiar with Firebase, I think they've got a great code lab called Going Places with Android. And there's this whole bunch of IO 2015 code labs which are available online, and this is one of them. But you will see them in various areas like even Chrome and Cloud and Android and whatnot. So this is one of the labs specific which I've just put here for Firebase. Okay, then you might have heard a bit about the whole thing called project. It's a first move by Google towards getting into the IoT ecosystem. The interesting thing, I believe, is the Weave protocol, which is some sort of a standardization, which should be a common language that all the devices in this ecosystem would speak. So it's still early days here, but I think that eventually, since they want to, take care of the management of the devices on their own, I believe that some parts of GCP could come into play, especially when it comes to administrating the devices, enabling, disabling, provisioning, licensing, and things like that, and even updating your, I would say, any software updates on the devices or even notifications. So it's early days. I'm just trying to put some thoughts together. I myself have no info on this, but I think eventually it should be able to gel well with some of the cloud platform services that are out there. Then, of course, IO 15 from a cloud perspective, these are some three labs that they have set up, and you could try these out. I think particularly you'll see there is some focus on Node.js. So those of you who've been sort of asking for Node.js support, you could look at the second one, where it shows how you can build that application and sort of host it on the Google Cloud Platform. So finally, I have just one a pretty dense slide, you can say. But these are just my recommendations on where I feel things are going. Not more than where things are going, but more like areas that I would say that if you're trying to learn or get into from a GCP perspective, they could be worth looking at. So obviously containers, everyone's talking about it. I mean, I would suggest that if you still to come to speed with things like Docker and Kubernetes, definitely do start reading at least about it, so that you could see what the whole noise is about. And it's worth it because I believe it presents a new model, an easy to deploy model, and easy to move across other uh, I would say infrastructure. So I think it's important you look at containers and understand it. There are some excellent videos and tutorials available on the Google Developer channel also, to get you up to speed with the basics. So I strongly recommend those. BigQuery, if you've not still looked at BigQuery, you owe it to yourself to see what it's about, and I think it'll be worth it. It's definitely one product that wherever I've seen it getting demoed, people are just like, oh, I can't believe it could process that amount of data in such a small under 10 seconds sort of stuff. So do give BigQuery a shot. It's for analyzing large data sets in literally seconds, and let all the infrastructure work be handled by the platform behind the scenes. Cloud data platform, cloud data flow product. I think it's an interesting product, a product which I personally believe moving forward, it would have significant traction, because just the way the data is getting generated, then complex data processing requirements. I mean, you don't want to deal with some of the infrastructure issues that plague solutions like Hadoop. So this is a whole managed thing for you, where you just focus on your data flow pipelines. So I think do give that a shot. Firebase, yeah, especially when it comes to syncing and offline. Those are key features in any, I would say, well-designed mobile apps. And Firebase just jumpstarts the whole thing for you if you want to do it. Um, I intentionally put a language here called Go. I mean, I just feel that I mean, it is the language that's seen a tremendous amount of both talk, chatter, whatever you want to call it, but not just that, right? I mean, it's really the language that most of the infrastructure guys are using to build out tools. So if you've heard of Docker, that's in Go. Kubernetes, that's all Go stuff. So and it's a nice compact language. Those of you who know C, Java, or even Python, I believe you should be. I mean, you can actually go through the whole specification and even practice things out in a few days, and then take it from there, right? So I would say if you are into programming languages, uh, do give Go a serious thought. It could be the dark horse for all you know. And I've just put a blog link down for the Google Cloud Platform updates. That's where I normally get most of my news and updates and things like that. So if you're really picky about making sure you get every particular update about the cloud platform, do bookmark that blog site. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had. And yeah, may the force be with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm done in terms of the content that I had.
Yeah, that's wonderful slide. Last slide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Romin sir, thank you so much for joining us from Mumbai and delivering these cloud updates and sharing cloud technology stocks. So, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure. And thank you for letting me be on this. And I
Yeah.
hope you all enjoyed.
Okay. Yeah. Look forward to see you again. Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. We have Drumil here.
Okay.
Hello,
Yeah,
sir.
sure. If there's anything I could take questions, I could help answer, let me know. Either way.
Uh, yes, so anybody have a question to ask, or we just finish the session?
Yeah. So we'll take questions offline and we'll send it to you, or we'll post it on our Google Plus page, and
Sure.
then later on we'll take it from there.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Not a problem.
Okay. Yeah. Look forward to
Cool.
see you again. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Rockstar sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.